Okay. Candle to get the good vibes going. All right. So the traditional, so I'm just walking through this part because we did this already, but I'm going to go on with the non-traditional. So I just wanted to show traditional for people to see what traditional tools are, if you didn't see my videos before. So traditional tools are what, people usually know as painting or artistic tools. So we have our paintbrush, number one, okay, all sorts of paintbrushes, all sorts of things to do lines like crayons and pastels and chalk, chalk pastel, oil pastel, palette knives. All of these are traditional tools. Pencils, pens. An eraser is a traditional tool. Now you think eraser is just to erase marks when you make a mistake, but you can draw with this. And that's a whole other thing. When I do drawing with my students and we do charcoal, you can go into the charcoal and you will see the white line. You can draw with that. So all of these are traditional tools. Even this sponge on a stick, because we have the sponge, it's kind of like, I use it as a non-traditional as well. This sponge shouldn't be there. That's non-traditional, okay? So the traditional tools, as you can see, and I'm sure there are others, are not as many, and we know those. But so I'm going to put this aside and bring the non-traditional. So the non-traditional tools that is where we have the fun. That is where we just allow our creative spirits to just go crazy, okay? So bubble wrap. So what do you have? I'm sure you can go, if you haven't gathered some of your non-traditional tools, you can go all around the house and just start picking up found objects, okay? So I have bubble wrap here. What do you call these? Oh, pipe cleaners. So let me just move this so you can see. Bubble wrap, pipe cleaners, cardboard, corrugated cardboard. So I just peel that layer out so I get these. They give you beautiful lines when you stamp, when you put the paint and you stamp it. Household sponge. I love sponges, okay? You can do all sorts of lovely textured work with that. This was kind of like a specific sponge I bought. This is a wine cork. These give beautiful stamping. All right. Straw, because you can blow the ink or the paint. A feather, you can dip it in ink or paint. Look at this. Dried eucalyptus. You could drag it in the paint, the ink, and make all sorts of mark-making lines. We have rope. This I actually got from Home Depot. This is all grungy, but it's like a palette knife with little teeth on it, and it makes brilliant lines. Yarn. Packaging. I would say this sponge would go with the traditional, but that sponges, it still gives that kind of non-traditional feel. Pine cones. This gives great texture. The caps of your paint, different circles. Actually, today I'm going to be doing a lot of circles because I love circles. So I'm actually doing my exploration. I'm choosing one type because there's so many. As you can see, these are all my non-traditional. Also a credit card or a old credit card. Don't use your good ones. Or a gift card, old gift card. And you can use for scraping. Some foil. Plastic bags work great. Sticks. Nails. Stones. You get the drift. You get my drift. Wire. Okay. So what are some of your non-traditional tools? Found objects, non-traditional. Have any of you used that before? Hi, JW Growl. My hubby is here to see me. What kind of non-traditional tools have any of you used before that you like using? I would like to know. Okay, so the reason I'm putting this here is because I've decided, because there's so many non-traditional, I like to limit things. So I like to limit color schemes. I like to limit what I have in front of me, so I'm not confused, and I can really do a wide variety of experimentations. So today, in my non-traditional tools, I am going to use all the things that would give me circular results, because I love circles in my work. I love patterns, repeated patterns, and I love the circles. So let's look at the stuff that I have here that can give me circles. So this little cup. So I have lots of circles here, but on all different sizes. So this is a cap of one of my craft paints, right? You dip it and you stamp and you get beautiful circles. And this one is a larger circle. Then I could use one of my water containers, even a larger circle than that. The stamp will give you this round. This is a stencil sponge to sponge in the paint on stencils, and it will give you a circular image. My stencils are circular. Now, I think I would probably call stencils traditional tools, because stencils, you know, you use it in a traditional way in terms of, you know, you put the paint down or you spray the paint on and it gives you the pattern with the negative spaces in between. But I have ways of using it in non-traditional ways as well. This is a pool noodle. See where the paint was? So the long pool noodles you put in the pool, well, I have one and I cut it up. And this gives a beautiful circle. And because of this spongy effect, it gives a lovely texture, and then the negative space in the side. Okay, let me see what you guys are saying. Kathy says, I like the bubble wrap and aluminum and plastic bags. Yes, me too. I love plastic. And in my one of the future videos that I do, I'm going to show how you can use plastic on the paint and pull it off. You can let it dry or you can leave it wet, and they give you such beautiful effects. And I use it a lot in my paintings. Some of you might see it in the painting, wouldn't even know it's a plastic bag I'm using. So I'll show some examples of that another time. Sticks. Jean Ann says, sticks, straws, feathers, anything from the recycle bin. Yes, you see how we can recycle and reuse? Sharon said thread, spools. Yes, yes. Oh yeah, those will make great circles. Gina, and marbles. Yes, marbles. You know, I don't have any marbles, but I've seen people make collage papers with marbles, like in a container, and just shake them around with a little ink or paint. I've never done it, so you should try it, but it gives a beautiful effect. So those are some of your favorite ones. Okay, good. So, oh, another one. I love this. This is book paper. Now, I love book paper in so many ways. I use book paper as collage, and the reason you can use any paper, any sturdy paper, like a thicker paper. So this book was kind of thick, and I just rolled a piece of paper, right? You can tape it down, but it stayed. And then you dip it in the ink, and you get circles, but a kind of irregular circle with a few lines in between. These are stamps, so, you know, these are kind of traditional, but they have circles in it. So I'm going to use that. The top of my spray bottle, another size of a circle. Makeup sponge gives a lovely circle. Felt. Paper roll, paper towel rolls. These are great. Again, another circle. And you can squeeze it down so you can get, you know, a kind of like an oval, etc. And then this one, I actually just snip and cut it so that I can do this. And it kind of gives me a circle, but with these crazy lines. So I would just, so on one side, I would just use it as it is. And the other side, I would just cut, 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 all the way around. There's so many ways you can do with non-traditional tools. You know, I've used sticks and added like cardboard to the end in strips, or long sticks, so you know, you have less control, right? So this is how you get that effect. All right, so I think that's it. Covers of all kinds, all right? Oh, this is, where did I get this? This was in a, I think it might have been when I was at school, because this is metal, and someone, you know, cut out holes in metal, and I left it as a stencil. So this is not a traditional stencil. It was somebody cutting out metallic holes in this metal, and this was the negative space, and I loved it. Okay, good. And everybody saw my books with traditional and non-traditional tools. Okay, let me just look through again. Corrugated cardboard, sponge in 2 ways, corrugated cardboard 2 ways, mini pine cone. And of course, you could make each of these in different ways. Wax resist. I'm going to show you how to do that. I have a piece of wax here. So when you put down the wax and you put the paint over it, it should pull away. It resists. This was with the straw. So you just put down. And now these were done with like thinner, like a wash, not a thick material, not a thick paint, more of a washy paint. So you can do that. So you can use thick and thin. The wine cork, look at what the wine cork does. Okay, and this is a wine cork as well, but with a washy ink. So it's paint with more water. A little bit of pigment and a lot of water will give you a wash. And then this is thicker. I always like, so when it's a lot of paint, you see how it's fully black, and I always like just getting the ghost stamps as it gets less and less. So cork rolled on the side, totally different. Cork rolled on its side again. The toothbrush, I have an old toothbrush. I love using old toothbrushes, right? So you can do that. That's what I did with a stencil. And then this toothbrush bristle, I just did like that. So countless ways. And you know, this might seem to some people as, oh, this is kind of childish, this is crazy. But we use it in mixed media art. If you look through my paintings, I use these techniques all the time. And you can get really beautiful effects and beautiful textures. So my work is all about texture. It's all about layers. And these kind of non-traditional tools, along with my traditional tools, really give me beautiful effects. You're kind of, I think I just went off. Did I? Yes, it is super fun. Okay. All right, so let's go. Oh, one more thing. This was the pool noodle. Okay, so we're going to do these. So let me put that aside. I'm going to put this tray with all my fun stuff on the side here. I don't have enough space for you to see everything. Okay, now I want to show you my papers. So I'm making collage papers. So I'm not working in my book, I'm working on papers. So, and today I am only using black. Maybe white, some neutrals, but no color today. Next week I'll use color, but this, I like to limit my color and I like to limit what I have in front of me so I can really push my imaginations. And so I have neutral colors here of the paper, and I also have colored paper. So I'll be using black on the colored paper, black and white, and on the neutrals. That's what I'm using. Of course, today, if you are working, you can use color if you want. I'm just going with black alone, and colored paper and neutrals. Okay, here's my black paint. I can add water to another area for it to get a little, you know, watery, but I'm using a lot of them, going to be kind of thick. All right, so let's start with, so of course on the black, I will use white, right? So let me just go through these papers quickly. This is tissue paper. Do you guys like using tissue paper? Oh my gosh, I love it. I use it in so many ways. So I make collage papers from them. I stamp and decorate. I also just use it as it is. I crumple it up and I glue it over my work, and it gives a really beautiful textured feel, and it's see-through so you can see whatever you drew on it before. Okay, good. Here's some other colored tissue paper. I have all different colors, right? Black. All right, regular paper. I think this was just from my sketchbook. You can use copy paper for that. This is black paper. Did you get like construction from your construction paper? Pads, manila paper, thin. This is like, you know, that, what do you call it? Newsprint paper. We have the grease-proof paper, so go in your kitchen. You can get stuff from the kitchen, and I love using these. Gives you a different feel. I have just magazine paper, and I'm using these black and white pages. More of the newsprint. I love craft paper. So brown paper, craft paper. Yes, tissue paper, deli paper. Now, is deli paper like the grease-proof paper, the wax paper? It's the same thing, right? I believe so. Well, in Trinidad, we say wax paper, wax-proof. This is parchment paper. Love this. This is actually from a magazine, a music magazine. But I would love to have like real music sheet paper. So I'll have to look at that. You can get them in antique stores, thrift stores. You can get it online. We get old books, etc. So this is interesting because these are like, I don't know if many of you know, I love doing gratitude journals. That's how I started doing my lives during the pandemic. Gratitude journals through my mixed media practices. I also, my membership is gratitude journals and mixed media sketchbook explorations, but it's something that I just love to do. So these are my gratitude writings, and many times I would use them in my artwork and in my art journals to infuse gratitude because the words are already here. And so I'll be using this also to stamp and decorate. They're underneath, so you're not seeing it as much, but it's there. You're seeing it peeking through. Book paper, right? So all of these, so fun. So let's begin, because I will go on and on talking. So any of you are going to be working with me, or you're just watching today? Anybody? All right, let's begin. You see, that's why I couldn't use the format vertical, because I really wouldn't have any space to show you what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going in here. Let's use the wine cork. I'm going to use the wine cork. But you could always say which ones you want to see me use. Okay, I'm just going straight in. This one has, I'm going to turn it over. I'm going in with my paint. Just make sure it's coated. And then you're just going to repeat. You see, as the first ones you put down fully black, and as it gets less and less, that ghost effect, look at that. So if you wanted your whole thing more or less the same, you could try to go back and stamp each time. But I don't usually do that. I love the variation. So I'm not even going to do a row. I just like to go and be free. I don't want anything restricting me. But you can apply it the way you want. You can even overlap. Already I'm getting a mess, but that's the fun of it. It might seem just simple, but the black on this craft paper is just beautiful. And when I start tearing this up, it will make really great collage papers for backgrounds, for on top. Okay, so just like that, we've created a collage paper. And I love the brown craft paper and the black. All right, let's try another one. And you can do the same one on different papers and just see what kind of effect you get. This is a different effect already. This is the parchment paper. So it's giving you the same circular, but it's different in terms, it's transparent. And just look at that. Look at the texture. Very different. Because this is craft paper, it's like absorbing the paper. This is kind of repelling it, like the resist. You see my hands under it? see-through. So I love that. And you can try different ones. Okay, let's see. Let's get some of the white paint. I'm just going to do a few. Of course, don't do this. This happens to me all the time. You're like, oh, she's a professional artist, but she gets her, her paint clogged up all the time. Yes, always. I'm getting better. But you know when you're painting all night for hours and then you stop, you're just so exhausted. It's like, oh. At least I don't leave the paint in the brushes anymore. But, you know, sometimes you could just put it in a container of water overnight and still wouldn't get hot. All right, so this is a black paper, and I'm going in with my wine cork again, but in the white so we can see it. It still has a little black on it, so there's some gray in there. Oop. So that one is thick. You see what happens when it's thick like that? Oh, each one is giving me a different feel. And I'm loving it. So I'm going to do it even around where all through will have the heavy ones and all through will have the ghost-like effect. And of course, the closer, like think about it. The closer you have things and it's overlapping, it becomes a different effect. Look what happens at the bottom here when I'm overlapping so many times. And there's hardly any of the black. The black is peeking through, but it looks very different to where you're seeing more of the black here. I love that. These show up in my work all the time. Okay, so I'm going to put aside the cork, the paint cork, and I'm going to go in with, let's go in with my paint cap. I have two sizes. This is the top of any cap. The old ones or a new one, if you have it, just get the cap, bring it out. Let's get some papers here. All right, I'm just using white and black alone today. I'm using colored paper as well, but I'm black and white pigment. Look at this. Now, I love using these because it really gives a beautiful effect. I'm using black and white together. You get some grays, they're overlapping. Now imagine this with color. So I did this in one of my videos in my membership. And I have a new membership coming out September 1st. But I did one of these videos where in my art journal, my gratitude art journal, we had a background. I painted a background, painted it teal, and then I did white, teal, and blue. And I used this on top of it. And that was my background. And then on top of that, I could then, after it dries, I could make like a focal point. And then I put my gratitude quotes, etc. But I have used this technique. Ooh, I got too much there, but it's okay. You know, everything is like a happy mistake. I have used this on my paintings and larger scale paintings all the way through on the background. It becomes the background and then you can then add to it. But look at that. So that's just the black and white with grays in between. But imagine it with color, with any kind of colored background, any kind of paint on top. So you could let your imagination just run wild. So is anybody trying these with me right now? Or are you just watching? Which is fine too. But it would be interesting to see if you were. And of course, many times when I could do lives, I just watch because I just love to hear and see and just be a part of it. And then I will go and do it. But it's nice. So even if you do it after, you can post it in a group and we can see what you did. Look at that. So you can create shapes or clusters. Like if I wanted to do like a floral, you know. So you could create a shape. You can put some stems and make it flowers, etc. And look at it on the purple paper. So the color I'm using today is colored paper, not paint. I'm not using colored paint today, just black and white, and I'm using it on different pages. Shall we use this? I haven't done this in a while. Let's see. Okay, so this is the paper towel roll, dipped, cut up and dipped, you know, trying to get it on here. Nice mess. I don't think it will give you a full circle, but it will give you some kind of, not really. You would have to maybe bring it down. You could create, you know, textures with it, but it's not giving me much of a circle. We'd have to explore that. Of course, to me, nothing is wasted, right? I'm going to use the other side. That's what I usually use. I was trying this frayed out effect. I think it might be better if I had thinner paint. It was thinner and it covered the whole thing. So let's go in with this side and get some circles. I'm going to use the same. Oh, yeah. And when you squeeze it like this, you get like an oval. Use it regular and you'll get a circle. Okay, so do you see what I did? Happy mistakes. I realized this didn't come out the way I wanted it with the cut frayed edges. So I went in with the other side, which I'm accustomed to, and I went right over. And I like the white underneath and then that coming out. Okay. What next? All sorts of stuff. Oh, we have these. Let me see. Oh, the pool noodle is always fun. Let's try this. Okay. Donuts. Let's try it on some tissue paper. Oh, I love it on that. And you get some of the white in there. That's for those who've done this before, just these explorations, these mark makings with found objects, non-traditional tools. It is so therapeutic. Like, I can do this for hours and hours on end. And then when they're finished and they're dry, I can rip these up and then make collages for hours and hours on end. So it's my happy place. I love collage and I love making collage papers. So this, I really love how this is. I love using the tissue paper. It just really gives you a different feel. You'll try later? Okay, yes, sure. So watch now, but I would love to see some of you post right here in the private group, because I was saying earlier that I initially wanted to do this live on YouTube. But YouTube, you need 1,000 subscribers. And you guys all got me to 630, which I'm excited about because I had under 100. And in a couple weeks, I just, requested on my newsletters, and I also requested on my Facebook and my Instagram, and people came over and followed me and subscribed, and I really appreciate that. So, but I'm still not at 1,000 yet. So I decided to come over here, and I think that's a great idea. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you like doing the lives in the private group, and I could mix it up too. Like when I reach 1,000, I can go over on YouTube, but I will always come back on the private group because I think that's a nice thing for us to have. Okay, let's put some more white. All right, I'm going to do another one that I really love. Let's try this. Some more colored paper. Let's do a green. Stencils. I love stencils. Any of you use stencils a lot in your work? Now, stencils can be used in many different ways. Let me just show you a traditional way. I use with a sponge. Where's my sponges? I love the household sponges, and then you use it. My problem with this, and it happens a lot. I get too excited, I put too much paint. You have to remember not to put too much paint, because when you have too much paint, then it goes underneath. And it wouldn't give you a very good circle. I mean, sometimes I like when it's not a full circle. Sometimes I prefer a stencil that's crisp. Other times I prefer when the stencil just kind of shows a slight effect of what it was. So let's see. Ooh, that looks lovely on that. So I like that. So the trick is really not to put too much. You get different effects when you use different things. So you can use a brush as well. I don't usually like using I get a problem with the brushes when I use a brush for the stencil, because that's when it goes underneath. But I think maybe because I put too much paint again. So let's try the brush, but it does give a different feel. Okay, so I'm trying not to use too much. I'm doing a kind of a dotting and dabbing, but you could also just kind of like scrape it like this, like a dry brush effect. I'm overlapping into that white. See what happens. Nice. Ooh, look at that. Okay, happy mistakes. This is what I like. When I'm in the studio, when people look at my paintings and they see some really amazing things, oh my gosh, how, sometimes they think I calculated, but it's because I'm doing it in my journals, my art journals. I'm doing it in my sketchbooks, and I get interesting things like that. And I'm like, whoa, that would look really good in a painting. And so what I would do, I take my pen and I would write what I did, right? And I would stick it in my sketchbook, the same sketchbook that you saw, the non-traditional and traditional tools. This is how I remember, and I transfer it onto my paintings. So sketchbooks are not, it's for fun, but it also helps me as I take them over. My gratitude journals, I love gratitude art journals, and they heal me, and they're mindful, but they also are exploring my mixed media techniques. So I'm the best of both worlds. Oh, I just saw a thumbs up. I forgot you can do that on lives. Thumbs up and hearts. Oh, let me see some more. Okay, so did you see that stencil effect? Oh, I want to try again. Let's use the stencil brush. I haven't ever really liked the stencil brush that much. But maybe it's because I let mine get hard. I just feel, even when it's soft and it doesn't have the paint on it, I feel like I have to put too much pressure with the stencil brush. Does anybody get good effects with their stencil brush? Maybe it's just because I do not wash it off fully. Somebody said, who said it? Sandra said, occasionally use stencils. Yes. I never used to use stencils in my paintings until recently. I did a whole painting last year when I went on a residency in Western Mass. I did the entire background in stencils, floral stencils. It was so beautiful. And then I went in with paint and started to negative paint and pull out my totems. If you don't know my work, I have a series called the Totem Ladies. Started to pull out, and these women are like strong, grounded, pillars of strength. And they have evolved. They started off, as sisters. I have 4 older sisters, and the strong woman in my family, my mother, my sisters. Then it evolved into these women, and then it evolved in these groups of women, and it became ancestors. But anyway, this is what I did, and I had the entire thing with stencils, and I'll have to show that another time. Okay, I have a really great technique with stencils I want to show you. I love it, love it, love it. Let me just bring a little water. So I'm using my black. I can go on all day, but I said I was coming on for an hour. All right, so I'm using some white. It's mixed with the black. So I got my, you know what? I want to use the other way around. I'm going to use white paper. Hey, let me use some book paper. Yes, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with this stencil. Okay. I'm going to do negative stencils. Has anybody heard of that before? Has anybody tried the negative stencil? So the stencils I showed you before, this is a traditional way of using a stencil. You put down the stencil and then you put your paint onto it with whatever you use for paint. But this one is like reverse. Where's my black paint? This is green. Look at this. This is really dark green. But that's okay. I just want a dark pigment, whether it's black or dark green. So, okay, this is what I'm doing. Look at this carefully. Let's hope it works here. You know what? It may not work here. Let me see. I think you have to put a layer down first. Yeah, let's let this layer dry a bit. All right. While that's drying, I'm going to I had a lot of paint on that, so that may. This is acrylic paint, so it will dry pretty fast. Because I don't think I ever did this technique on just plain paper. Like, I would always have paint on it first, and then I would do it. All right. Oh, that looks nice. From dark to light. Now, do you ever, I am impatient to let things dry. That's why I work in acrylics. I love that they dry fast. But I also use a heat gun. Anybody has a heat gun out there? So if you don't have a heat gun, guess what you can use? A hair dryer. Most of you probably have hair dryers, and then you can use that. So I'm just plugging in my hair dryer so I can blast that green. Okay, so block your ears a bit. Man, those hair dryers, the hair dryers are like magic. They blast. And so it's a little dry. Oh, you have a heat gun, Sharon? Oh, I don't know. I got a heat gun about 3-4 years ago. I'm like, why did I never have this before? Or why did I never think of using the hair dryer? I saw an artist do it and I'm like, brilliant. Okay, so now I can show you that effect I was talking about. So I have my stencil. So this is the regular way of using a stencil, and this is a negative stencil. So what I'm going to do, because I have that dark color, I'm going to put some more white. See my palette a little bit. And now I'm going to go over. Let's hope this works. You know, sometimes with mixed media, things just like, hey, it worked last time. Please work. I'm on camera. All right. Here's what I do. I take a baby wipe. Anybody uses baby wipes? Baby wipes are amazing for mixed media art. Okay. So they're damp. You go in and you remove. So you're just scrubbing away the paint. What you're doing is you're taking away the white paint, but what is being left behind? The dark paint, or a version of it. So you have to realize, when you do that, you don't want that top layer to dry too fast. Because then it wouldn't be able to pull away. And you can take off as much as you want. I just dipped mine in some water a bit. Take off more. Okay, you ready to see this? And there you go. Right? It's reverse. It's negative. So this is negative stenciling, and this is the positive stenciling. Okay? Where the dark color is on top of the light paper, and then the white is on top of the dark. Not dark paper, but I put the dark painting in the back. And it really gives beautiful effects. So these are the type of effects I use in my paintings as well. So these are all the circles, and it's beautiful. And of course, you can just go on and on and on. You know, there's some things that I didn't use, like the book. Now, this was just book paper rolled up. Look at this. These are my notes of what I wanted to do today. Right? Everything gets involved. And you just roll. Tight roll, loose roll. You can use, this is thin paper. You know, I like to use a sturdy paper. You can use cardboard, but you will get a similar effect. And then you could just use some tape. I'm just holding it for now. And then again, look at that. It's a bit of like a wonky circle because you're getting the layers of the lines as it was rolled. Right? So before I finish up here, let me just do some of the other circles. These are traditional stamps. I love stamps. Again, too much paint. You will know the sweet spot. You will know the sweet spot when you get it. Look at that. Nice. Another stamp. Repeated patterns really have a beautiful effect because they give you depth. They give you depth and structure. Okay. One more. You know, I would just keep going on and on. We didn't use the bubble wrap. This is a tiny bubble wrap. I don't have any big ones. So you put your paint on your bubble wrap. Non-traditional tools are just fantastic. I love them, love them, love them. And when I use traditional tools, you know, the interesting thing is traditional tools can be used in non-traditional ways. Look at that. Lovely. Right? And I'm not even using color. I'm using white and black and whatever's in between. Okay? All the grays. But it's funny. This looks like it has yellow in it. I think it because some of the dark green with the black. Okay? All right. Oh, I said I wanted... Yeah, I believe that's it. Yep. And so I said I would be on for an hour. So let's talk for a little bit longer. Anybody has any questions? Any suggestions? Any things that you like to use? Here I am. Any materials that you like to use and effects that you get that you haven't seen before? And what did you think of what I did today? What were the effects? So these are some that I did today. Any questions? So just reach out, ask me. Any questions? Love this. Woo. Great. Okay, we just did this one. Let's look at the ones. Stencils, 2 ways, the regular way and negative. Remember that. That is, and you can, it looks so different at different times and different layers. Okay, stencils, love it. Then we did tissue paper. This was with the pool noodle. Look at those textures, yummy. Craft paper, I love the brown paper, especially with black and white. They give a really good effect. Colored, so I used colored paper today, but not colored paint, just colored paper. I just wanted to explore neutrals, so the pigment, the white pigment, the black pigment, and on different types of paper. So what we really explored with different types of paper: book paper, parchment paper, and we were exploring all the non-traditional tools that were circles, because I love circles, but you can do all the non-traditional tools you wanted to do. The wine cork. Now here's some that I did before. Let me show you these. I didn't show you these. So this was done before. So that's bubble wrap. This is a sponge. Now, depending on sponges, you can use the whole sponge. You can cut a piece, rip a piece. You know, some sponges are lighter in area. So I think I used this one that was lighter in area, not the thick ones that we use at home. That's on red paper. This, a traditional tool. This was just done with a brush. More traditional lines. This was a brush, these little lines, and then charcoal. The cover of paint, the paint container, love that. As well as the cork. Oh, this is fun. So this one, I didn't have colored paper, so I colored the back of my book paper. So I actually just used a spray, some spray, a water-based spray them. So I had an orange background, a green background. Then I used just a paintbrush and just did dab, 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 like a little dab of the paintbrush in black. And then I went in with paint pens and did a little circle. So this is traditional tools. Again, the wine cork, but look at how this looks. This is a magazine paper, and the magazine was of t-shirts. Purple t-shirt, a green t-shirt. I don't know if you're seeing the t-shirts. Right? Wax-proof paper. And it just goes on, and you could just keep having so much fun. All right. Any questions? Many thanks. Oh, off to play. Yay, Sandra. I hope you're going to post something. I want to see some posts. Please post in this group of some of your explorations. Bonnie, love this. Thank you. You're welcome. Kathy, great ideas. Love that some had a texture when completed. That's my favorite part. And I'm going to be doing another one with textures alone, and that's a whole other thing. But it's funny, even just making the marks creates so much texture and layering. Great workshop for beginners to get started, just as you said. Yes, definitely. And believe it, trust me, I'm not a beginner, and I do this all the time. I have stacks of these because I use them in my paintings. So you can use these in your paintings and take them to the next level. Seema, love negative stencils. Yes. So you've heard of negative stencils before. So yeah, so that was it. I think this is fun. I'm going to try and do this every week, Sundays at 1 p.m. And I hope you can come. I'm so happy that you came by and you stayed with me and had a little fun. Please post some of these. You know, just post the pages that you did. You know, another time I will, you know, probably do a video where I'm using some of these to create a finished piece. You know, so tons of things to do. Tons of things to do. It was awesome. Love the negative stencil. Yes, that a lot of people like that. Was that your takeaway? Was that your yay, your aha? That first time I learned that was my aha. I love it. Yes, and get inspired. Use the way. It's all about freedom. Like when I'm in the studio, that's what I do. At the beginning of a painting, this is how my paintings look. And then I layer and I explore and I mark make. It must, because I cannot have that white canvas. I must put down that foundation. And then I start pulling out things I can see. Sima, looking forward to using up these papers. Yes, let's use them up in our sketchbooks. I'm going to use them in my gratitude journals. And yeah. Any other questions? So that's it for today. I'm so happy that you came out and I wasn't talking to myself on camera. So now, when I come off, I think Facebook will say, do you want this uploaded? And I'll say yes. But funny thing is, I think it's going to have me on the side. So next week, hopefully I'll find out. And I went on YouTube and I saw this guy was saying how to make it that it's, you know, it records horizontal. But for some reason, it's not doing that. But we'll see. We'll get better at it. So thank you, everybody, for coming. I am so happy you came out. And if you have no more questions, then I will just say ta-ta and enjoy the rest of your Sunday and have a great week. I put out my YouTube videos every Saturday. And then on Sunday, I'll do a live and kind of relate it. So you could, if you haven't seen the recent YouTube video, please go. I did stuff like this, but I did different things. Today, I just did the circles. But I only used black and white, and I did the exploration of traditional, non-traditional tools, making papers. So I made papers with these. And if you didn't see the ones before, you could go earlier before and see. I have like 7 episodes of that mixed media explorations. So I hope you like it, and I'll be posting some other things as well. If you would like to follow me on, or if you haven't followed me on YouTube, please do. Please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so I can go live there as well. I don't know if you'd like to see me live there, and how you like the lives here. I like it here as well. So I won't stop these. And then, where else? I'm on Instagram. Some of you follow me on Instagram. You can follow me there. And if you'd like to get a newsletter, I send out weekly newsletters as well. You can sign up for that. So that was lovely. So I'm going to say bye and have a wonderful week. Bye, everyone.